Morning, everyone. I'm Koen from Eurelectric. For those who don't know us, we are the European Power Association, having a huge task in Brussels to represent basically all the European utilities. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here and to be part of such a great event, a very relevant event as well. It's a pleasure also to be in Iceland. Let me start off there. It's the first time I've been here. It's the first time in Iceland, and I had the opportunity yesterday to be part of one of those great small tourist trips. I basically took a trip with a couple of other tourists to the south of the Iceland, and there was a great guide, a guide that was able to explain a bit more about the identity of Iceland. What is Iceland? Who are we? And I learned that there are two essential elements to the identity of Iceland. One being the Icelandic horse. The Icelandic horse is a great horse. It can perform 5 gates and basically has been instrumental in the development of this country. It built the roads, it built the cities, and it has been here for more than 1,000 years. The second element was the Icelandic language. A language that is unique, as it is apparently the Old Norse preserved and was never influenced by English, Latin, German, or any other language. So I ended up having a conversation with the guide about what is identity and why is it important? How do different communities define identity? Is it something that you need to preserve? Is it something you need to protect or change in this context of a globalized world, which is basically increasingly getting pushed as well by the adoption of digital technologies. So what is identity? And I can imagine it's not only a topic here in Iceland that is high on the agenda. It's also, as we all know, a theme very relevant and very current on the political and business agenda elsewhere in Europe. So it is on the agenda of our sector. It was a very prominent theme last year when our new president, the CEO of NL, came in and he launched that discussion with the other leaders of the sector. Together with the presidency team, they initiated a process of looking at our identity because basically they found that this electricity for Europe, is this still what we stand for? Is this what defines our industry? Is this what defines the future business that we stand for? They clearly said no, it's more than that. So what they did is they stepped into a vision process. A vision process where they agreed to look at what are the priorities of this sector. What do we stand for? What is the product electricity? What does it mean for society? What does it mean for customers? And at the same time, what are we committed to act upon? What are we as a sector doing? What are we committed to deliver to society? They also realized that it is their duty to get involved and to take a united stance against the topic of climate change. So they all committed to believe and to step up on this journey, which is called the energy transition. An energy transition that is completely sustainable and is customer-centric. That in itself was something that was new. That was, as far as it happened, never before recognized by all the leaders of the sector. So they sat down for 4 months in a closed room. We put them together, the different CEOs of the different utilities, and in the end, they came up with this vision of the industry, the vision of the electric industry, which, as I said, states what we believe electricity can do to society and what do we as a sector want to commit to. One key element which came out brand new of this exercise was the fact that all the leaders of the sector agreed to step up their efforts to do something against climate change. And they subscribed to something very important, which is that they're committed to invest in delivering a global carbon-neutral electricity mix well before 2050. You can say, is this new? Is this in the light of the Paris Agreement something relevant? Yes, it was the first time that an industry association, an industry stepped forward and said, we as an industry, we believe we can step up our efforts and we are committed to deliver net zero emissions well before 2050, so well ahead of what is expected from us and from other stakeholders in society in view of the Paris Agreement. With this message, which was a powerful one, the leaders of the sectors not only wanted to go back to policymakers and say, hey, we will want to be part of discussions, want to be part of this important discussion. No, we also want to lead this transition fueled by clean energy. What does this mean eventually? Eventually, it means that this conversion is not only about how we as society or how we as a sector need to put in place more windmills or install more solar panels in the shortest time possible, well before 2050. It is also about how we look at the energy system and how we can assure that we can develop new business models. Because the old century business model of us, the sector, generating electrons and having these electrons consumed by a meter or by a consumer is no longer sufficient. In that vision, they clearly stated that sustainability, technology, innovation need to become an integral part of our business. So suppliers, the supply side of our business, will definitely need to change their business model. They will need to move from what was the old electricity for Europe, from supplying kilowatt hours to becoming full service providers to the benefit of society, to the benefit of consumers. So with that vision, and I invite you to read that vision if you haven't done so, came the new brand. Earlier this year in February, we launched this vision together with our new brand. And that brand fully reflected and incorporated the identity transformation that we started. The branding itself was thus supported by a powerful message, and that's something very important. You can have a strong brand, you can have a strong slogan, a strong color, a strong image. In the end of the day, if it's not backed up by a message that your customers, whether it's the policymakers or society, can trust, the brand will not work. So that's the first thing. We introduced a powerful message with the brand. Second was that as from February, we launched a multi-channel campaign across our different platforms. We looked at how to increase our consistency with our brand in our publications, in our communications, focused much more on different types of channels, including social media, and made sure that we, in the end of the day, reached our core customers, which are the policymakers. In the end of the day, the main objective and the main positive feedback that we got, and I go back here, is that our most important customers, being the policymakers in Brussels, on a European or international level, they recognized this. They recognized that Eurelectric, the industry, had moved from an industry that was representing the status quo, that was not forward-looking, suddenly with that new vision and with that new brand could be perceived as one that is willing to embrace the future, that is willing to adopt a new mindset. So today we stand for something completely different. If you compare the first slide with this one, you will see that we have a new logo, we have a new tagline, and it represents that our sector is willing to give people more power, that is willing to work more closely with consumers, that we are willing to invite consumers to be part of the energy transition by giving them the tools that before always were in the hands of utilities. Now it's about us saying, hey guys, we are ready to give you the tools, give you the technology, the digital elements that are needed for you to become an essential part of this transformation. And that is an important change that this sector made happen, and that we also want to translate with our new logo and slogan. So our brand and new slogan reflects that new relationship that we want to establish with our customers. If I have time left, I'm not sure because I see the clock ticking. I invite you to afterwards to go through all these different presentations and videos that we have made up. But if it's possible, I would like to get the center one on the top displayed. This is the corporate video that we launched on the 8th of February with the elements of our vision. If that's possible. So the one in the center on the top.
To free myself from that angry sea at the show, the hopes of ever having something